good morning. On day 7 of the event window for the Target Maui Pro, the 10th and final stop on the Samsung Galaxy Women's Championship Tour. And once again, we're perched up here on the cliff above the beautiful Honolulu Bay. Thanks for joining us this morning. Ronnie Blakey with you, and we have a big program for you. We're going to be having a look at the best rides from the 2015 season. We'll also check out the highest scoring heats from the year, and a little later on we'll get an update on the second stop of the Vans Triple Crown of Surfing, the Vans World Cup over there at Sunset Beach. But right now, before we rip into all of that, let's meet our panel for the day. Big wave charger Strider Wasilewski. How are you, Strider?
Morning, Ron. Really good. Had a good gobble day yesterday.
Yeah, a couple of good waves on the point too.
Yeah, we're going to try and shake all of that meat off.
And Rosie Hodge, former CT surfer and a former semi-finalist in this event. How are you, Rosie?
I'm so good. Just happy to be back at Honolulu Bay. I think it's such a special place and one of the best places to close out the year for the ladies.
Now, before we dive into some of the big calls, obviously, that we got to make today to see if we get competition underway, some sad news coming out of Fiji. Chief Druku, the man, and one of the WSL's closest friends when we visit that area, passed away and was laid to rest just yesterday. A lot of special memories, Strider, for everyone who has visited that island.
Yeah, you know what, Druku, he was laid to rest, but he definitely won, the life tour. He was on fire, and just, all of his children, what he did down there for the village and all of his people and everything that he brought in, to the world for us as surfers. I mean, the stoke and the pure fun and love and joy that man shared with everybody, it's just undeniable, and all of us have a place, in our heart for down there.
Yeah, definitely. That energy that he gives out and that love that you feel. I mean, Kelly Slater, obviously, he's got a lot of close friends that visit that island, but it's just such a special thing to be welcomed by the chief and to feel that love. So big hearts going out
and
to him.
The fact that Kelly Slater's week just happened to fall during this time is pretty magical for Kelly to be down there right now and be able to share those moments with all the people that love him so much and everybody together. It's just kind of like a second family for Kelly. So beautiful. Hats off, and good job, Druku.
Yeah, we'll miss him, and big thoughts to everyone over there in Fiji from everyone at the WSL. But you know what? Some positive signs here. Yesterday we saw some good waves on the point, and the women, the world's best, for the first time really during this event window, got the opportunity to get out there and get a couple of decent waves from the surfing you saw, Strider. Who was a standout in those free surfing sessions?
I think it was Rosie Hodge. She was on fire, but now, all jokes aside, Carissa was dominating the peak. She had the inside cave worked out. She was on the spot every time a set came, so she looked really good.
That's the thing. I think, someone that's able to work the lineup like that and has such a good idea of where the wave's going to break, that's a huge plus in their camp if they can just figure out the wave and know what it's going to do.
Well, there's definitely some little waves rolling down the point here today at Honolulu. Let's check out if we're going to get heats underway. We'll say good morning to Chelsea and our Deputy Commissioner.
Yeah, hey Ronnie, it's a much different story down here. It looks much better than it has in the last couple of days. I am with our Deputy Commissioner, Jessie Miley-Dyer. Jessie, it looks like it could go either way. I know you're looking for the very best days and you're looking for some more size, but could we start today?
It is pretty borderline today. There's a few waves in the bay. We're kind of seeing, 2 odd 3-foot set for a lot of the women out there, but we're going to be off for today. It's just the trend throughout this afternoon and throughout the morning is going to be the decreasing swell, and we're still tracking that swell for tomorrow and for Sunday. I think that there's going to be a lot more waves tomorrow, and I think that that's going to be the day to possibly start for us.
Super, Jess. All right, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Thank you, Chelsea. Beautiful shots there with a rainbow in the lineup. No competition today, Strider, but people can obviously kill some time at worldsurfleague.com reading an interview with you. I really enjoyed that. Some great feedback coming through there.
Thanks, bud. Yeah, that was a good one. But with the waves, the reality is it's a good call. The trend is going to come down this afternoon. It's going to slow down, and we're going to see a decrease in the swell. But as the days move on, and as we get into tomorrow and into Sunday, we're going to see some more. And you can see, there's a pretty heavy northeast flow right there over us, which is actually not bad for out here because the window's so small and you want to get that in here. But you can see the backup swell, and as it comes around the top of us, it's going to turn more north, and then we're going to see that swell peek through the window Saturday afternoon into Sunday. As you can see today, it just kind of declines all the way through the afternoon into the evening, and then as you go through onto Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you start to see it come up, and then that thing, arcs over, and then Sunday, Monday actually look like the best days to me. But if we can get some early rise on Saturday and get some heats done, that would be great too.
Just size-wise, Rosie, we saw there that there wasn't too much more swell yesterday, but it doesn't take a lot. There was some amazing rides going down yesterday afternoon, so pretty positive signs for the weekend.
Yeah, definitely. Strider mentions as it turns a bit more north, it really just wraps in the bay, and that's a beautiful sight. When it's hitting perfectly on that reef, that's where it's wrapping around Keiki Bowl, the caves lighting up, and that's what we're looking for.
Some big highlights coming your way. After the break, we're going to check out the highest scoring rides from 2015. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show. No heats today on day 7, but still plenty of highlights to reflect on. 2015's been a fantastic year with some huge numbers logged by the world's best, and Strider, we're going to check some of them out, starting with Sally Fitzgibbons, who came on the show the other day and told us about her run through the event there in Fiji. It was one of the most heroic victories that we've seen on the Women's Championship Tour.
Yeah, super emotional, and to hear the stories about the aftermath was just, it was amazing to see how well she had to adapt and just go off the adrenaline and run through it. But here she is, the warrior herself. I mean, she really did. I mean, the waves were pumping this afternoon, and it's big out there. It's gnarly. It was woolly. It was raining, and she was just taken to the lip, just buckets everywhere, big power hacks, and then coming down on the inside, having to deal with that ear and jumping off into the bowl like that. It's got to be a little scary.
One of the best backhands on tour, Rosie, for sure.
Definitely, and just the work and the effort that Sally put in at cloud break, suffering that injury, we've spoken about it so much, but really it's incredible just to think about just strapping her head up and just against doctor's orders going out there and putting on a performance like this, coming away with a win. So emotional. She's
going to marry a rugby league player, and she looked like one in the final of that event. But this is Tatiana Weston-Webb. She's been blowing minds with her barrel riding and her charging ever since she came into the spotlight.
Yeah, she follows it up too. Those hacks off the end that she's throwing down. I mean, there's not too many women in the world grabbing the wall like that at cloud break, getting barreled, coming out, and then throwing down big hacks on the corner. I love that turn, and she's got a lot of power and the poise to come through a barrel like that. She's probably so stoked coming out of her skin, and then she just pulls back, resets, and then throws into a turn. I mean, really great surfing right there.
Could have almost been a 10-point ride that way, but I just love that combination of tube ride and the big turn after the barrel. But speaking of power, Carissa Moore at Margaret River, Rosie.
Oh, you've got to think that Carissa's going to be one of the ladies that really steps it up in this break, and you can see that technique that she has, the way she wraps around her shoulders. She can throw so much water, just displaces it so easily, and really looks so comfortable and so sharp on those longer boards.
Yeah, I mean, her timing and her flow, she's got something, definitely watching all the tapes through the year, she's definitely been the best surfer through the year so far.
Amazing. And we're going to see some of the 10-point rides from throughout the year in a moment with Joe and Potts. But first up, Tyler Wright from Trestles. This is my favourite wave from the year. Just how well she puts together these manoeuvres, the variation and the flow is mind-blowing.
Yeah, Rosie, I mean, it's, you surf this wave so well. I mean, what do you think about the fact that she just has so much in her surfing out there? I mean, she just looks so good out on the rail.
I think Tyler Wright really put her heart into this wave. I mean, when you're watching her compete, this is against Carissa Moore, and you can just tell, that she was just hungry and on point, and her surfing fits this wave so nicely. I'm just so impressed with the way that she's able to keep that bottom turn line and then just throws everything into it. I mean, that's a staple turn for Tyler Wright, but it just looks so much better on a wave like Trestles.
An emotional loss, though, right? Getting a huge score like that and not being able to back it up. All she needed was like a 5, and it's just tough for you to start out with a wave that good. That was in the first 30 seconds of the heat.
I'm expecting a massive performance from Tyler in this very event to finish off the year. But right now we're going to see some of the best waves of the year. 10-point rides. We're going to bring in Joe Tappel and Martin Potter.
Good morning, Ronnie, Ross, or pardon me, Strider and Rosie. It's really fun to look back on the year. There's so many memorable rides coming into the high 9s, but not quite getting the perfect number from the panel. The judges keep that 10-point ride really special, and they save it for the best moments and heats.
That they do. I mean, in this day and age, to get a 10, you've got to do something out of this world, and I think that way from Tatiana Weston-Webb, it's Cloudbreak. I think that was pretty close to being a 10, but to get a 10 just on manoeuvres alone, I think becomes even harder. So, I mean, the ladies have been lighting it up all year, and we've seen some great waves.
We think about our first 10. It felt like a comeback moment for Silvana Lima coming back to the top 17. She went above the lip to show perfect air form, tail high, great footwork. This was the 10-point ride that ended Sally Fitzgibbon's quarterfinal streak on the Gold Coast.
I mean, and what a wave it was. I mean, have a look at that. Just perfect footwork there, landed that thing perfectly. Not too many women on the tour can pull that kind of manoeuvre off. Silvana came out the blocks firing at the beginning of the year, Joe, and then sort of faded towards the end. It looks like she's not going to re-qualify, but left us with some really amazing surfing just to reflect on this wave here. I mean, she didn't just do that air reverse. She milked it all the way through, brought it through the inside, and as you said, to stop Sally's quarterfinal run was an amazing feat in itself.
A huge roll for Silvana Lima. Then we went down to Bells Beach. You can see how challenging the conditions were. She kept that 10-point ride streak going with a big rip off the top. That first turn was really the reason why this came in at a perfect score.
This was touch and go whether we were even going to run today, this day here at Bells Beach. Big, crazy onshore stuff, but this is what it's all about. The World Tour, you've got to be able to mix it up in all kinds of conditions. You've got to be able to light it up no matter what it is, and on that day that wave was a 10-point ride. There was no women out there doing what Silvana did on that wave. That opening turn, pretty much where all the meat and potatoes were, and then she finished off on her feet, which is oh so important to get that 10-point ride.
When you think about Silvana Lima, she's had multiple 10s throughout her career. She's not one to ever surf safe. Sometimes she'll get a 2 in a heat, next heat 10 because she's so explosive and never holds back. Someone who kind of fits that theme, Hawaiian Tatiana Weston-Webb, got her 3rd perfect 10 of the season in France.
Yeah, pretty much very similar to the way she had at Cloudbreak. This day was touch and go as well, whether or not the women were going to run. Tatiana put her hand up and said, "I'll go." And she did. I mean, the guys were battling to get good scores through this day. Tatiana paddled out and just paddled into one of the waves of the day. Beautiful positioning there, beautiful timing. Just she's one of the best in the barrel as far as I'm concerned on the women's tour. And as Strider said too, she doesn't just do that tube ride. She comes out and she finishes off with something special. So a well-deserved 10-point ride there for Tati, and Rookie of the Year. So amazing.
Epic to see 3 10s this season. Remember, we only had 2 last year. We had Courtney's 10 here at Honolulu. 10-point ride from Stephanie Gilmore at Lower Trestles. So hopefully we'll see more 10s here at Honolulu Bay. Remember, Silvana Lima, crazy stat, her first heat ever here at the Bay as a wild card, locked in that perfect score. Yep. To add another great stat to her amazing career.
Yeah, it's going to be great. She's got nothing to lose now. I think we're going to see some amazing stuff from her.
Well, we saw the single high scores. Now we're starting to think about the best heat of the year. We want you to join the conversation. Hashtag Heat of the Year at WSL. You'll have some great choices to choose from coming up next on Dawn Patrol.
Welcome back to Dawn Patrol. We are loving reflecting on the big moments from the 2015 season this morning. Just a moment ago we had a look at the top rides. Now we're going to have a look at the big heats, and there's been plenty of them. The whole schedule has been stacked with huge performances from surfers, not just at the top end of the draw, but right down the bottom end. We've seen some big performances from those underdog performers, and we're going to have a look at some big heats now. Starting with Fiji, the final, Sally Fitzgibbons. We talked about how special this win was for Sal just moments ago, but we didn't touch on how good the performance was from her rival in that last heat, Bianca Baitendar, putting in a great performance over there at Cloudbreak.
Yeah, you would have to say, looking at these two ladies, they put in so much time at Cloudbreak, and you mentioned Sally Fitzgibbons and that injury. She sustained that in round number 2 up against Mahina Maeda, the wild card. We watched her advance through every single round. It was such intense, and then Bianca Baitendar, this wave suited her surfing down to the ground.
And it wasn't just a little perforation of the eardrum that she had. She completely tore the eardrum open, and that's the reason she's been wearing a helmet for most of the season. But I think it's healed to the point now where she can surf without that helmet.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is one of those wins where she'll never forget it. I don't think the surfing world will ever forget it. It was one of those things where she stepped up against the doctor's orders, like Rosie said, and took it down. I mean, you were out in the water. How was the emotion at the end?
It was so emotional just to watch, Sally outpour that herself. It was just pretty incredible to see that whole thing unfold.
Now, the next heat we're going to have a look at is the Margaret River semi-final between Courtney Collalog and Malaya Manuel. A high-scoring heat, both surfers getting great rides, but obviously Courtney, her power got her through to the final.
And she was out there. She took some lumber in the water. She was on a 6'8", and I think that really suited the wave, the long stretched out walls at Margaret's, and she was having a good time out there on that board, looking really good, clean power surfing. Look at that sweep right back into the bowl. I mean, she just stayed in the pocket the whole time.
Rosie, just looking at this performance, you'd think that Courtney would have loved a little bit more size in the forecast here at Honolulu for this last event, because that's when she really sort of seems to step up and look at a cut above the field.
That is exactly it. I mean, Courtney just really loves a bit of juice in the lineup, and Malaya Manuel in this heat, you would say that these two forces meeting each other, that was amazing. They were two standouts.
Looking forward to seeing Malaya perform here too, at home in Hawaii. Now this is France, the quarterfinal matchup between Carissa Moore and Nikki Van Dyke, who's just been on a quarterfinal tear of late, but Carissa just too strong once again.
Yeah, you know what? This was France is such a tricky place. You got so many different variables. The conditions change so much. And this little sandbar that they found, I mean, this was a great heat. They matched up perfectly, banging away at it. It was super fun, little running sandbar. And Carissa just, breaking it up, different maneuvers all the way through, breaking into the higher scores.
And for me, you look at Carissa, we always peg her to be a world title contender, but then it was Nikki Van Dyke. She found her form in Fiji, started a quarterfinal run, and that's where a surfer gets dangerous. When they find their potential and they find that formula for making it through heats, you throw them into the mix and they can end world title dreams.
Carissa got the win, but Nikki had the highest scoring wave of that heat, a 9.07. Now, one of the highlight heats of the year was actually in the very first event of the season, and it saw last year's world champion Steph Gilmore at home taking on Carissa Moore, who unfortunately for Carissa was out of title contention at the end of last season when she won this event. So it was great, just that storyline playing out at the very first stop on the schedule.
Yeah, seeing him get back at it and watching Carissa was lighting up through the whole event. These women are the best there are in the world, and watching them go head to head, I mean, it's so fun to watch Stephanie at home and the comfort she has and the flow. I mean, she had it all together in this heat. She really did look really good, and the waves came to party too. So it was a great little mix. But I must say, Carissa just had so much more power in the lip.
Well, my favorite thing about the Gold Coast is the anticipation. I mean, the ladies have had the off-season to kind of go underground, prepare, work on their equipment, work on their surfing. So to see these two ladies come out of the gates just firing at each other, I love that.
And they've just been swapping that big silver fruit bowl the last few years. And Steph might be handing it back to Carissa at the end of this season. And just have a look at how strong Carissa was in this final. A couple of 9-point rides, a 9.4 and a 9.03. Steph couldn't match her. An 8.33 and a 7.17, and all Steph could do at the end of that final was clap for Carissa. That's how strong she was.
Yeah, she, like I said, the power that she was displaying out there, she looked like she came in so strong. She's been amazing all
Oh,
year.
my
Look at
God.
that. I mean, the flow and that little critical corner, just, I mean, I love the way she's surfing right here. It was such a great telling story to set up the year for her.
I'll tell you what, she's surfing just as well, if not better, at the moment. Yesterday afternoon, the free surfing session, completely blowing everyone out of the water. And it was a little bit scary, I got to say, just how well she was surfing. It's going to be hard to overcome her in this event. But Fiji, semi-final 2, this is, well, best friends doing battle over there at Cloudbreak. Bianca Batender and Joanne DeFay. And how was the size of those two turns from Bianca?
She unleashed. I mean, Bianca Batender really found her form in this event, and Joanne DeFay, coming from Reunion Island, you'd have to say she feels comfortable in waves like this. When you meet your best friend in a heat, I mean, it's on. The gloves are off, and they're going to go for it.
The comfort level, though, I mean, the waves are pumping. These waves are like, you know, well overhead, a lot of power, pushing down the reef, a lot of speed. I remember this day there was a lot of wide sets swinging around. So, you know, for these women to look as good as they do and as comfortable as they are in waves of size, my hat's off to them. They surfed really well this day.
Yeah, Strider, you hit the nail on the head. A lot of the times the ladies were dodging those big sets that were cleaning them up, and these two girls just read the lineup so well. They were just positioning themselves and swinging under the lip and going on these waves. So a lot of power out there. I mean, Cloudbreak, a wave of consequence. It's such a welcome addition to the tour.
What about the evolution of the performances in Fiji in just a year? It was amazing how much the women stepped it up in 2015. You know, you reflect back last year, you know, surfers were being criticised, and this year they went back there and they really turned it all around.
Yeah, I've been just here on the beach, and a lot of the surf fans that we've run into, they're telling me the same exact thing, how much they've seen the progression of women surfing and how much it's moved along and how happy they are to watch it now. It's amazing to see, you know, the fan base too is growing for the women, and I love it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we talk about those waves of consequence, and the ladies have definitely stepped it up. The generations before them really pushed the envelope, and now these ladies are coming into their own.
Absolutely, some fantastic performances here over the years. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll update you on what's unfolding over there at Sunset Beach in the last QS of the year. Welcome back to the Target Maui Pro Stop 7 on the Samsung Galaxy Women's Championship Tour. Well, no heats are going to get underway here today at Honolulu Bay, but Strider, what's the word over there at Sunset Beach? We've got the Vans World Cup unfolding, the last QS of the year and a crucial one for the qualifiers trying to get onto the CT for the men.
Yeah, it's the biggest event of the year for those guys trying to make it into the window there. Everything boils down to that event, and last year it was Dusty Payne jumping into the advancement there and getting into the CT. This year there's so many guys, the variables are massive, so Marty Thomas is over there. He's making the calls, and we'll find out from him.
No, well, he's sent word through already. There will be no competition today, so Sunset's going to be on hold, but it's going to be a crucial event to watch unfold, Rosie. As Strider said, so many variables and some guys making a real late charge in Hawaii.
It. I mean, the anticipation just for qualification is intense, like it is for the world title. I think the same pressure is on those people's shoulders.
Well, no competition here today, but a good chance we'll get heats underway on day 8. Tune in tomorrow morning, 7:30 a.m. We'll be back with Dawn Patrol.